Hello, everyone. This is Joseph Lucy here for our weekly Tongren sessions. For people that are new, welcome. Our goal is to do a distance healing therapy called Tongren, where our main goal is to open blockages. So each week, people put in their requests, and we work on every single person, and we oftentimes do it multiple times for people. But happy to see everyone here and working to open blockages, connecting through what we call the collective unconscious. In Buddhism, we call it oneness. There is no separation. But in general, it is manifested through the universal heart of compassion. But with that said, let's get to it. And we have our different conditions, and there we go. So we have a 3-part process that I teach. In fact, in the 25th of February, we have what we call a Masterclass, but in many ways, that is a place for people to come together and rejoin the community of Tongren healers for a review and some advanced topics that I have developed. So it would be great to see everyone. Some people do the basic with Tom Tam or other people in Canada, and some people even do our online basic and then do the Masterclass. But in general, we want people to join us as a community to work for healing everyone. So let's begin right now. A 3-part process. Blood flow to the brain. We will work with Happy Mama. So we work Sen Chi for perfect blood and lymph and strong immune system. But how do we work for perfect blood? The manufacturing place of the blood is the bone marrow primarily, and even recycled blood can be from the spleen. So if you think of it in 2 parts, just as here, the lymph and immune system. Immune system is basically clean up. The lymph system is basically take away and remove garbage. And we have cautious settler for AFib, and I will give you a formulation for minerals which are really good for AFib, aortic stenosis, chronic kidney disease. But always consult your doctor. For any changes that you do, especially when it comes to nutrition or medications or supplements, especially if you're on medications. So blood flow to the brain and brain command points. So our main goal is to re-establish communication links in the body. So we can do that by here. I'm going to sit back a little bit so people can see me better. Sensory cortex, motor cortex, that's the bioelectricity communication links of the body. And then we have the pituitary and hypothalamus, which are the biochemical communication links of the body. And then we have the brain stem. And GV17 for the cardiac, respiratory, and vasculatory centers. Breathing, heart, and circulation. So that's part 1, blood flow to the brain. And then part 2 is the yang and yin of the body. If you think of yin and yang, active, passive, active, passive, relaxation, rest and digest, and fight or flight. So let's go to the fight or flight part because that is most of where we find our blockages. So blood flow, nerve flow, C1 to C7. And we're actually going to start to work on the eyes and macular degeneration. C3 for the eyes, blood flow to the eyes, common carotid artery and vertebral artery, and facial artery. Out point of the eyes. And again, C3 to support the eyes. Liver to support the eyes from Chinese medicine perspective. So everybody's hearing and seeing me okay, I hope. It's good to see everyone, our healing community. So we want inflammation for the eyes, T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. Anti-inflammation also for perfect blood. Thank you very much. Always good to have a check-in. Hi, Catherine. So for anyone dealing with eyes and different things, I have received my next experiment, but it's actually pretty safe. It is Eye Bright plus cayenne pepper, which I will do as an eye wash. T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. So let's work on perfect blood, the bones. T1 for the bones. So if you're not doing it already, sit and relax with your feet flat on the floor, palm face up, to amplify the relaxation response. Breathe through the nose to amplify it even more. Longer exhales than inhales, and a good way to do that is you breathe in through the nose, out through the nose, in count 4, out count 8, hold for 8. And T11, T12, L4 and L5 for the microbiome. Also anti-inflammation for everyone. So again, T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8 for strong immune. And T3 for the lymph. And T7 for the spleen, which is our largest lymph node. T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. And then additionally for the bones, GB39 on the outside of the ankles. So all bone and bone related. Lumbar 1 to 5 will work for Drew as well. I hope you're listening. Also, to support the bones is something that a lot of people don't realize is the craniosacral fluid. Kidneys for the bones. And Jing, as they call it in Chinese. L2. Blessings and gratitude to you. Activate the whole spine for the eyes, the immune system. And grounding down the legs. Before we leave, we'll also support the bones through the craniosacral fluid. That is a loop of nourishing immune type liquid for the spine and the brain, craniosacral, and it goes from the brain to the tailbone. So GB789, we have some thumbs up. Comes down to the spine, and why don't we go with T1 for the bones. T1 is Chinese medicine for the bones, but my guess is it's for the bones. C6 and C7 as well. And then tailbone 1 to 4, not very commonly used, but really good points. I especially got more understanding from Canada and the French in France. And down and grounding, always liver 3 and kidney 1. That is for grounding, which is very good to allow energy not to be kind of floating around and disrupting your brain. Liver 3 and kidney 1. And part 3, vagus nerve to basically counterbalance. Vagus nerve to CV12, the gut-brain axis. And again, grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. So even if we're not working on your specific condition, if you're sitting and relaxing, the space is got energetics for you as well anyway. So let's take a look. Hello. Faris, plenty of requests. Don't worry about it. I will make time, Faris, for you. I got it. Hang in there. All good. Okay, so next we work with Erica. Tap for kidneys, liver, and edema. There are some good herbs for edema. One is called kidney. Oh, can't remember. Company called globalhealing.com, and they have, I think it's called, well, probably just kidney herbs, but it's a tincture, so I would highly recommend that. So let's work on those different areas. Blood flow to the brain. So we step one, we turn everything on, blood flow, communication. So we kind of turn the lights on. Command points of the brain. Command points of the brain stem. Blood flow, nerve flow. That's our mantra there. Blood flow and nerve flow. C1 to C7, and some more with the eyes for your mom, and the glaucoma, GV17 and C3 for varus for your mom. So edema managed by the kidneys and the liver. Then thoracic T1 to T12, T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. So here's something that we need to think about for AFib. The heart is electrical, and therefore it has electrical balancing through electrolytes. There are three main electrolytes: calcium, magnesium, and potassium. So to balance it out, this is the way to think about it: 400 milligrams of calcium, 800 milligrams of magnesium, 1600 milligrams of potassium. That is the right ratios. If you take a ton of calcium, it will be disruptive to the magnesium and even the bones. But these are the ratios, 4, 8, and 16. In addition to that, there's a cofactor, vitamin D, which helps orchestrate all of these things to work together. But for the heart, T5, and of course, whenever we're dealing with nutrition or minerals, the microbiome, T11, T12, L4, and L5. But we want to still continue to work with the glaucoma, which is GV17, also for the AFib as well, for the heart. Anything dealing with the heart, GV17, and pressure, which is glaucoma, GV17 in the back. So if there are people in the audience that are interested in the Tongren Masterclass or the online breath training, I am pretty much just about this close to finishing my certification for being a breath coach in the yoga style and advanced styles. But my goal is that it's another medicine that we want to add in to our toolkits. So C3 again for the eyes, for your mom. I bet there's a lot of fear about eyesight. There are some herbs. There's a website called jeansgreens.com that has some good eye herbal teas. You take the tea bag and put it on the eyes as well, which I'm going to do. Key 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. So it says here aortic stenosis. Usually I'm familiar with that with vertebral stenosis, which means the calcium is closing in. Is this aortic stenosis from cholesterol or inflammation? If you can give me some more information on that, that would be great. But we know how to work on it anyway. And hello, Dorothy. Bone density increase. Oh, good question. We're going to come up with some good herbal remedies for you. And thyroid nodules, we can, as what's the name of the senator from Massachusetts? We have a plan for that. So T5 for the heart and aphid. T9 for the liver and for the eyes, more about eyesight. C3 for the eyes, ouch point for the eyes. Please help her eyes. Facial artery for the eyes. GB 23 for the optic nerve areas. Chronic kidney disease and diverticular issues, inflammation, T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. One of the best, there are two great things you can do to cool down your gut. One is, I think it's glutamate. Number two, which I prefer, is aloe vera. And there are good whole leaf, organic, raw aloe vera juice sources. There's a good source, rather. So those would be things you want to cool down the inflammation in the gut, in particular. Aloe vera and glutamate. Glutamate or glutamine? Glutamate. That's my guess. Look it up. It's a specific powder for, I think it's glutamine, but I will double check. Weight loss, metabolism, copper. So find some foods or fermented minerals which have copper. Copper helps to manage our cellular metabolism. It isn't really focused on very much, but it would be important to focus on foods with plenty of copper. But we'll work on metabolism. We'll actually work on C6. C7, the thyroid nodules. One of the best things you can do for the thyroid, of course, is to eliminate fluoride. That's one. So two things. And add in sea vegetables on a regular basis. Or iodine. And the best kind is nascent, a very specific kind of iodine. So let's see if there's an answer about the aortic stenosis. I'm guessing it is Allison and Coco are here, which is great. And we will continue. We've probably got about 30 requests so far. We'll piece of cake, as they say in certain places of the world, easy peasy, which is great. When I grow up, I want an Australian accent. T123478. Microbiome T11, T12. The Australian accent is so cool. So we're also talking about the kidneys and the liver and edema. So L1, L2, L1, L2. But if you think of edema, it is congestion for the elimination of liquids. What's a good remedy? Castor oil packs on the belly or the kidneys, as well as clay, overnight clay poultices on the legs or wherever the edema is focused on the most in the body. T123478. This is also good for rheumatoid arthritis, for confident spirit. Any itis, any inflammation. So good things for inflammation are fermented turmeric and black pepper, fermented foods in general. Herbs and minerals can be potentiated by combining with fermented agents. T123478. Degenerative disc disease. One good way to compensate for that is superhydration, to make sure those discs are full of water and plump. It will give you space. It will give them longevity. And it will help the nerves, because it sounds like there's probably some pain involved as well. So we will tap for leukemia and rectal cancer for you, Rebecca. And you are 14 hours, so 9 in the morning. And there's the best remedy ever. They will, in Australia, they will tap for me to get the Aussie accent. Oh, we're going to work on that. That'd be great. I have a Bostonian accent. That's kind of fun. T123478. Microbiome T11, T12, also for inflammation, for the rheumatoid arthritis and the degenerative disc disease. So anti-inflammatory foods, high in omega-3s, plenty of vitamin B12, and the entire spine, and to nourish the degenerative discs, the craniosacral fluid, GB789, T1 for the bones, and tailbone 1 to 4. and grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. Let's work here for the edema, where we can put some castor oil packs, CV4 area. So let's continue with you, Dorothy. We have these different questions. Bone density increase. There's a great product called Grow Bone. They actually almost guarantee that within 6 months you will have improved bone density. So it's called Grow Bone. I always add in extra herbs, which is called Osteo Herb from Dr. Winston. And of course the thyroid with the iodine. And clay has silicaceous acid, which is a precursor to silica, and collagen, which is also good for the bones as well. Okay, so let's continue. And you did have a specific request, Dorothy, bone density, but let's do that. Bone density and leukemia. So we'll work on the aortic stenosis again and chronic kidney disease as well. And we'll work for Drew as well. So let's work on blood flow to the brain. Brain command points and brain stem command points. So let's work for the leukemia. Tracy and Michael, okay. Good to see you. Blood flow, nerve flow to the spine. So for bone density, T1 to the bones, and digestion, absorption, and elimination. So it's critical to balance calcium, magnesium, copper, iron, and something known as ceruloplasmin, which is an activator for the copper. But from Tongren, anti-inflammation, T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, T1 for the bones and the gut, T11, T12, L4, and L5. So my mom and many of her sisters had thyroid nodules. There's another word for them. What are they called? Goiters. And reversed through nutrition in her 80s. T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. Continue with the bones, and then the other thing for the bones would be the craniosacral fluid, GB789. And tailbone 1 to 4. So this is all for leukemia and the bones. An extra power point for the bones is GB39. And then grounding liver 3 and kidney 1. Okay, so I think we got everyone on bone density increase. Of course, you must have resistance to tell the bones to build. One of the tricks that I personally do and I recommend is I put like a 1 or 2 pound weight on my ankles when I go for a walk to do extra resistance without any harm. Of course, always mention it to your doctor that you're doing those things. And it depends upon the level of pain or bone density on your bone density test. But you can start with 1 pound, put it around your ankles, so you're getting a workout just by walking. Okay, so next we will work with, we'll do some more for kidney disease. We will work with Marina's knee, Paris, blood flow to the brain. And we will also work for rectal cancer, and we'll work for Drew. Blood flow to the brain and brain command points. Edema in tibia and fibula, I would definitely put castor oil packs around those areas to accelerate the lymph drainage from those areas. Because that's all inflammation. It's not sounds like it's inflammation, not a kidney issue, which means it's just a mechanical situation. So that could help a lot with inflammation and lymph drainage. T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. Anti-inflammation for the Marina's knee. And make sure we don't miss anyone. And the kidneys. So first the liver for detoxing for everyone. T9 right side. Microbiome T11, T12, L4 and L5, but specifically a 2-part process for rectal cancer. So first the nerves, blood flow and nerves, T7 for the lower extremity blood flow, also good for the aortic stenosis. That's T7 right side for the aorta specifically. The nerves for the rectum, L4, L5, S1, S2, the lumbosacral plexus. A good oxygen technique for cancers and for constipation and different things is an ozonated magnesium oxide, a special cleansing process developed by Tesla, which I use by group or individual. For people, it oxygenates, cleans off the mucoid plaque, alkalines the body, and improves digestion, absorption, and elimination. So that's something I wanted to put out there for everyone as well. Usually a 7-day type of program people do. We usually do it by group every season, or individually people do it as well. So let's specifically work on the ouch point, 2 torn ligaments for the knees. Ouch point for the knees. anti-inflammation for the torn ligaments. Connective tissue, BL9, is a special point for that stuff in the back of the head. So someone has a migraine. On the scale of 1 to 10, what is the pain for the migraine? And then we're going to work on it, and then we're going to check it again for a friendly humanoid. So for the knees, bladder 54 behind the knees. And again, the ouch points of the knees. And then castor oil packs for the tibia and fibula, for the pain and for the inflammation. And grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. Okay, excited buddy, vagal tone. And I hope you're listening. Some of the best ways to enhance your vagal tone is a two-part process. One is through a vagus nerve activation process, which can be done. And number 2, even better, is through breath work, specific breath work, actually, that I've learned even the last 2 weeks. You can activate the vagal tone through humming, through mantras, through ocean breath in yoga, through a bandha, which is a neck lock. So there are many ways you can improve your vagal tone. But we're going to work on the vagus nerve specifically. GB12. One of the benefits of our system, we can be very targeted. And Paris, we will make time for you, guaranteed. And we have one more part for the rectal cancer and all cancers, which we will do in just a moment. Vagus nerve, vagal tone. So the vagal tone communicates, it's a communication link to the gut-brain axis. So GB12, CV12. The solar plexus. A plexus is a bundle of nerves. It's our second human brain. So blood flow to the vagus nerve, the sky window, and vagal nerve GB12 down to CV12, the gut-brain axis. So we're going to do a two-part thing for everyone. We're going to do an oxygen system tune-up and a lymph system tune-up. So let's start with the oxygen system, which is anti-cancer for the rectal cancer, sky window, and the phrenic nerve. Not frantic, but the phrenic nerve. So Paris, I would definitely recommend the Relaxator device. From Sweden, for the blood pressure, sleep, and low oxygen. Remember, for oxygen, things, superfoods like spirulina, chlorellas. Also, the formulation for oxygen, which is cellular metabolism and detoxification, and copper for cellular metabolism as well. Phrenic nerve, two sides. CV17, phrenic nerve to CV17, that's one, to the diaphragm, which manages our oxygen. When we breathe in, it kind of goes down, gives us more chest cavity for the lungs. Basically pulls the lungs open like balloons, and relax, closes and breathes and exhales and pushes out that carbon dioxide. Yep, the phrenic nerve. And the other way for these, the phrenic nerve and phrenic nerve, sky window, phrenic nerve to T6, which is the nerve access for the diaphragm as well. If you're not familiar with the diaphragm, it's basically a muscle. The lungs do not move themselves. They're pushed up and down by a bellows-like device. And the manager of that device is primarily a single nerve called the phrenic nerve from the side of the neck. So the vagus nerve can help with blood pressure, but let's also work on GV17 for the blood pressure. So occipital arteries to support the medulla, and the medulla itself, GV17. Activate the entire spine. And grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. So the laser is a really good option for CV17, for the breathing and the oxygen as well. The ozonated magnesium oxide, which was developed in your country, Faris, or your area, by Tesla. So that would be another great option for you. And next we will work with migraines. And did you give us a number? So if you have a number of 1 to 10 for your migraines, that would be good, because we want to see if we're making some improvements immediately. But let's start with the migraines, emotions. So blood flow to the brain and GB13 for the emotions right away. And hello, Scott, for listening in. Good to see you. Hope you enjoyed the class. Let me know if that was helpful for you. There weren't many people, so we could focus on everybody more, which is great. So migraines, we have a specific point, very specific. You can do this with acupuncture, massage therapy, or Tongren, called gallbladder 20, right at the base, about halfway between the ear and the center, right where the occiput meets the neck, gallbladder 20. Next, we're also going to work with Drew. And Marie, welcome. We're going to work on platelets, which is the same, the bone marrow for leukemia, platelets, bone density, and for even conditions like thalassemia, low quantities or small size of red blood cells. platelets. Sorry, maybe that's an accent. Nope, it's just a mistake. Migraines, right there. And you'll tell if you use your hands, that area is very tight. And why is it for migraines? My guess is because right above there is a great intersection and network of blood flow to the brain. And if there's any stress or tension in the neck, all the blood flow, which kind of comes out like a fractal kind of situation coming from the bottom of the brain, that will be impeded, and that can cause headaches, of course, headaches, lack of oxygen. And again, C1, C2, GB13 for the emotions. Platelets. I still like platelets. That's a Bostonian accent. That's it. Yeah, that's what it is. Platelets. GB13, right side. T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8 for GI health, anti-inflammatory, and 2 modes. 2 modes for GI health. Oh, we haven't done the lymph tune-up for everyone. I got to do that. That's next. T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. So the digestion, absorption, and elimination, T7, T12, GI, gastrointestinal tract, and the microbiome, T11, T12, L4, and L5 for everyone. And grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. So for the humanoid, the pain is only around 3, and I'm presuming it was more. So that's what we want to do. And just sit and relax and breathe through your nose, longer exhales, and let the energy continue. Reduce resistance by activating your relaxation response. So that is actually very powerful. So that's one of the reasons I study breath work, because we want to remove resistance. I know from experience when I'm working with people, some people actually just sit and meditate while they receive Tongren. So I know they've broken down all the resistance. Tongren also breaks down resistance for when people do hypnotherapy and other things as a combination type of thing. So let's work with, we have Allison and Coco, which is great. We're going to tap for breast and ovarian cancer right now. Blood flow to the brain. Command points of the brain. And balancing the hormones. Hypothalamus and pituitary. And Marie, we're going to work again on the platelets. My goodness, it's a bad habit. Platelets. And then we will work on digestion. Oh, we did some digestion. We're going to do it again. So breast and ovarian cancer. So let's do some command points for everyone. CD17. The aura stopped. Maybe you can give me more information on that. Pain decreased already about 5 points, which is great. Once you activate two important things, here's kind of a secret. Number one, reducing inflammation reduces pain, but it increases oxygenation and nutrient uptake. So that's the main thing. And then relaxation response will help to increase things to move better in the body. C1 to C7. We're going to work on the cervix eventually. T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. T4 for the breasts. So again, glandular cells, hypothalamus, pituitary. So L1, 2, and 3 for the cervix, the uterus, the ovaries, and the glands of those areas. The breath is a medicine. Different breathing techniques can do different things, but their main focus and their main primary benefit is relaxation, digestion, and one more, which I will come up with in just a moment. So L1 to L5. So blood flow to the area, T7. So blood flow and nerve flow, T7, L1 to L5. So Catherine has a message which it would be great if she could clarify too. I'm sending you an email about your mention of Tesla, Think 369. Those are harmonics of healing. These are powerful tools which need to be known about more. So Cautious, Settler, Pat Bowen, let me read his message. Phenomenal class, much warmth. So that's your body doing the work. I am a facilitator, but I can remove blockages, and then your body does all the magic. Provide you information about antherolysthema of L4, which would be good, and L5 and anemia, iron issues. So here's the key about iron. This is what I've learned, and this has actually been in the Merck catalogs for years. People, the doctors will say you have an iron deficiency, but in reality, you have an iron surplus. It usually is a lot of extra iron in the cells, which is usually undetectable by testing. So the key is to metabolize the iron, and it is actually a copper deficiency. So when you do that synergy, the natural Taoist type of synergy in the body, you will manage your iron better, and you will absorb iron better. And there are also some koji-based fermented minerals, which are really good for iron as well. Cerebrospinal meningitis at 7. Nothing explains everything, as well as Tongren. So Pat, if you're interested, you've taken classes from Tom. If you want to join us, you can jump right into the Masterclass coming up on the 25th. It would be great to see you. A lot of these things here, this is actually a good training point. I know we're just about out of time, but all of these things, bones, blood, everything that works in the body is a balance of many factors and processes. In addition to that, what interferes is either a lack of nutrition, a lack of oxygen, and also a possible blockage. Very simple. there's a blockage, the bioelectrical communication or the biochemical communication can't get through. And the other trick is, thing I was going to mention before, is the brain wound connection. I've learned from a friend from Australia, a brilliant person, Dr. Wheatgrass. He puts his wheatgrass liniments on the wound area. It activates and reconnects from the wound to the brain, so the brain will teach that area how to heal. That's the magic of the body healing. So one more round and a lymph tune-up for everyone. Sorry to hold you up. I talk too much. So, Erica, you're saying your iron is high, but your ferritin is low. Copper. Ask them about copper, iron, magnesium, and something very fancy called ceruloplasmin, which allows the copper to work and to do its work with iron. So there are actually complete books written on those 4 elements. Big books. Blood flow to the brain, and blood flow to the brain and to the spine. So we'll work on L4, L5. Cerebral spinal fluid, GB789, and tailbone 1 to 4. And grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. So we will do a lymph tune-up. And then a lymph tune-up for everyone. And we have a good question here. I wonder if maybe you were low in copper. Most likely, because that's a cofactor, and that will allow your iron to work. What makes copper low? Nutrition. Poor nutrition, poor soil, all these different things, and inflammation negatively impacts all your minerals. Axillary lymph, inguinal lymph, and CV4 for a great place for pastoral packs. CV4 for the Pyrus patches. Liver 3 and kidney 1. I'm sourcing good sources of copper, and I have found a great one. If you look up Solgar, iron rather, but I'm looking on for good sources of copper. Oh, I do have one, actually, from globalhealingcenter.com or globalhealing.com. Dr. Group has one of the most bioavailable sources of copper on the planet. Yes, that would be a good way to get your copper back. H. pylori. So here's a tip. This is a true case study. My last thing I talked too much. But a friend of mine had H. pylori, a very dear friend, H. pylori for quite some time. And he took, with my recommendation, some gut shot, which is fermented sauerkraut water. And by the way, I learned about gut shot from somebody in this group here from Canada. This is how it all works. And then within 24 to 48 hours, his difficulty, his pain had subsided. But any fermented foods are good, but especially gut shot. So as you can see from our healing community here, we're learning from each other. I've learned something from a friend in Canada. I told it from my friend in Massachusetts. All these different things. So this is how a healing community works. This is how we support each other. It's not about me. It's about all of you supporting everything. So we will do some Qigong for everyone. Charge the battery, as we say. Put your mind in the lower dantian CV4 and feel the warmth as we charge the battery. And training the space, creating harmony from chaos, all that energy. We've been doing a lot of work. So here we go. Pat Bowen, are you from Connecticut? Used to work with Tom Tam? Thank you, everyone. Hope you're buzzing with chi, as I can see here. Some people are. But just continue to breathe deeply, if you can, through the nose, longer exhales. That's how it works. So thank you very much. Worked on the bones, the platelets, the digestion, all these things. So I think we get it all covered. Thank you, Maria, for joining Catherine, Erica, in our healing community.